And the more that you call in fear or think about it or feel it, the more you'll amplify it and you'll call those connections in.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Transmissions of the Heart. I'm your host, Divinely Sah'RAH. We've got someone special here with us today, Jeanette, the Alchemist. But before we get started, we are going to start off with prayer. So please pray with me. We give high honors to our uplifted ancestors, guides, fierce protectors, and skilled healers. Please stand with us, be with us at all times, and guide us along this journey with a level head and open heart. We are root of your root. We are soil of your soil. We are bone of your bone, and we are flesh of your flesh. Not deaf to our sincere cries, not blind to our honest plea. Thank you for being the whisper in our ears that protects and guides us along this divine journey called life. Ashe. Ashe, thank you for being with us today. I'm so excited to interview Jeanette, the Alchemist. So like I always do, I'm going to tell you guys a brief story about how I actually met Jeanette. It was amazing. I was at a retreat. It's Meek's retreat, and it was amazing. It was a silent retreat. And Jeanette was one of the practitioners there. Jeanette plays the bowl. She does vibrational sound. She reads the Akashic record. So of course I partook in all of that. But the one memorable moment, or I have two memorable moments that happened at that retreat with Jeanette. It was one time when we were doing the Akashic record reading, and she told me, all right, Sah'RAH, get ready. We're going to move to the 11th dimension. And I'm like, oh, okay. And as she started to pray, I could feel my body vibrating. Okay, like I knew we were going somewhere. Like our bodies were not moving, but we were moving, and it was amazing. And I could feel my body trying to calibrate so we can align with the energy that we were in at the time. And so that was the first thing that stood out to me is her energy, right? And then I was at the retreat and I was laying down and she was playing the sound bowl. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I could feel something start to bubble up. And I was like, what's that? And I was trying to control it and I was trying to fight it and I was trying to hold it back, but it wouldn't let me. And so I found myself just laying there crying and tears just rolling down and rolling down and rolling down. And by the time I looked up, everybody was gone off the grass except for me.
Yeah.
Right. So that is what you guys are going to experience today. It was so amazing. Jeanette is a very beautiful person. I'm just so honored that she took the time to be with us today, but no one knows you better than yourself, Jeanette. So can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jeanette. I'm a sovereign, authentic, calling in all of my authority self. That's my title as of right now. And over the timelines, I've had a lot of titles and labels, but that's where I'm at right now. And I'm here to just really assist in elevating the frequency of the planet, of this beautiful Earth ship right now. Do you want to know more?
Yes, that's basically it in a nutshell, but it's so impactful though, right? And just like Jeanette mentioned, we are changing at all times. Our frequency is changing, our auras are changing. So I like the way you introduced yourself, like that's who I am for right now. I love it. How did you tell us about alchemy? Because a lot of people may not know what that really means. What is alchemy to you? What does that mean to you?
Alchemy to me is to transmute, transform, and transfigure, whatever it may be. Something in the physical world, emotion, a mindset, so that you can reheart it, so that it's rehearted in your embodiment. That's how I see it. That's how I call it in. And so I do a lot of work, divine assignments with alchemy of all types on all timelines. So that's that in a gist, I mean, we could go deeper, but
Right.
yeah, that's how I see it. And I've been on this path now for a while, so it's really in my source codes of who I am. And I know it's my truth because I feel so good when I'm able to do all of that, when I'm able to alchemize in
Yes.
each day.
I love that. And so speaking of alchemy and change and transformation, how did alchemy show up in your life? When did you know that you were on the right path? But before, okay, let me start over. I always like to start off when you were young, like when you knew you were different or what set you aside from everyone else around you, your journey to you, where you are right now as a magnificent being.
Um, it started off very young, very, very young in my early little person's age. Just because I was so sensitive to everything, to fabrics, in which I still am, and smells, scents, and textures of food and words, very sensitive to it. And so that, and my mother, my mom, she was aware of it. She didn't know what it was, of course. I don't think anyone really did, but I thought everyone was the same.
Right.
As as timelines went on, I found out that they weren't. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, you can't hear all that, you can't see all that, you can wear that fabric all day, or it, like, that's okay with you. Because yeah, my poor mom, oh, back then, with fabrics and just clothing and hair and products in my hair, and very, very, very sensitive to it. I still am. But that's why I make all of my own things now. But it's taken, years of that to figure that out in my little years, my little people's years. So
Yeah.
that was it. Just really being able to see energy in a room. My synesthesia was extremely high as a child. And I thought, like I said, I thought everyone could see color or smell something that maybe doesn't have a scent, Um, I just thought, and I think we all can. It's just how much we protect it or hide it or push it away. Really, I mean, in actuality, we all can do that. But it came out very vibrant and vivid for me, and so that's how I knew.
Right.
Mm.
How did your parents handle something like that? Like when you would ask, you can't smell that, or you can't sense that, or you can't see that. How did your family respond to that?
They were just like, "You're just so sensitive." They're like, "Calm down," or "You're just so sensitive." But my mom, like, I mean, my dad too, but he's masculine, alpha
Yes.
male. But my mother, very feminine. I mean, she started to get the hang of it. I was like, she knew that I couldn't wear fabrics, I couldn't eat certain things. She already knew, and she catered to it.
Mhm.
Protect, actually shielded me, and I'm forever grateful for it. Um, and it continued on. She thought it might be something that I would grow out of, but I never really did. Um, and so she knows how particular I am, how unique I am when it comes to clothing and food and people and energy. I mean, everything, everything that I am now. Uh,
Right.
yeah, they're just like, "You're just so sensitive." And so that was my thing. My mom, she still sees me. She told me the other day, she's like, "I still see you that way. So very sensitive, so very gentle, you know." And so I was never really asked to do a lot of, let's see, like arduous things as a child that maybe, I went outside to play, but I didn't want to get dirty. Like I'd come
Right.
in, as soon as I got dirty, I was like, change. And my mom was like, stop it, stop. And I'm like, but I'm dirty and I can't have that like touching me because I felt a certain way,
Yes.
and that was, she was like, stop. So lessons learned, with that, but I'm still seeing as the odd one. It's okay.
Look, there's always one of those in the family, right? But when you think about it, it had to come from somewhere down the line, right? So
Yes.
did you have someone else in your family who had your particular gifts or something similar?
My great grandmother,
Yeah.
grandmother and great grandmother, paternal grandmother, maternal great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I remember because my great grandmother, she watched me a lot. My great grandparents, so I was so blessed to have them in my life for my first 20 years. So she was very cognizant. She worked with plants and could do anything with plants. So,
Ooh.
but didn't speak about it, but we had that connection. And then my grandmother on my paternal side, she's very religious, but could also see. She traveled here from Mexico and she left everything and said, I'm going to go and travel there, but a better world for my family. So she
Wow.
was the one to cross over the border and, you know, and came here to Los Angeles, and she could see. She saw, she was a forecaster. She could see.
Wow.
And bought land and property, when people of color were not doing that really,
Yes.
and she knew what to do.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The the matriarch of the family and just being able to spend time with
Yeah.
someone like that who has the gift. That
Yes.
is such a blessing.
Yeah.
That is such a blessing because in many times when you're in a family where you have a gift, they want to tuck it under the rug and act like it don't exist, and you really don't have any connection to someone who had the gift, or if they had the gift, they try to not let anyone know because you don't know what could have happened to people, during a certain time when they had certain gifts. And so that's special. That's really unique.
Yeah.
Really, really unique.
Either of them really knew, but now in my knowing, I'm like, oh, okay, that's where it's from. The forecaster, and then my great grandmother with plants, and she's indigenous to this land here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And, with the great grandmothers before her as well, indigenous to this land, native to this land. So, yeah, I see that, I was able to receive the frequency, even though it was not spoken about ever, ever, ever,
Right.
ever. Yeah.
Right. I
But
wonder when we think about our great grandmothers, I wonder what they would think about this time that we're in right now, right? Like, how would they navigate this? What type of it, what type of advice do you think your grandmother would give you during this time?
and they talk to me often and they tell me to pray. So that's been, what I do now more so than ever in my life the last few years. And it's not a religious type of thing at all.
Mhm.
Really, the action of it, being still and praying for the greater good, of the earth plane.
Yes.
That's what they tell me, and just to continue to open my heart. And that's been a thing that I've been continuously doing now a lot. But I don't know how they would just, my grandmother is alive. So she is just, I just tell her every day, I'm like, you've lived through a lot, grandma. And she's like, I know. And, she's just like, wow. So I can't even imagine what my great grandmother it's her mother, what she would
Right.
have, what she would have said. I don't know in the physical.
I really feel like during this time, I feel like we're living in the past. I, I feel like we're in a cycle of time right now. I know time does cycle, but I feel like it almost feels like the 1800s. You know, we don't have to say the word, but like they had a plague and there was this huge breakout, and then people had to move in groups and become, you know, find communities and trust one another and build. You know, I really do feel like it's that time again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have to, you have to trust your community because that's where you grow your food, that's where you get your medicine, that's
Yeah.
where you get your shelter, right? It's no
Yeah.
longer this separate world where it's me, me, me. You know, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to love ourselves and show ourselves self-care, but we're so divinely connected to the whole that we are all dealing with something
Yeah.
very heavy.
Yes. And it's the timeline to actually build our communities and keep those communities tighter,
Yeah,
really get to know your neighbors,
right.
really keep the community tight of your people locally. I mean, of course we have communities spread out all over, but in your physical realm, really keeping it tight.
Right, right. And it's just been, it's divine time. Sometimes I think, why did I choose this moment in time? I was actually thinking
No,
about that today.
I was just thinking the other day, I was like talking to a friend. I did not say yes to this. Like I said
Right.
yes,
I was like, I got duped.
but I said I don't remember saying yes to this. But then I thought about it and I said, well,
Mhm.
I'm here to do some to help with the collective. So I guess I said, you know, I guess I really did say yes.
That's it. That's it. And having people like you in the world who do the work for the collective, work on yourself because you give so much to the collective. We do need people like that right now, right? We do need people like that. We have. I've been doing a lot of thinking, so I was thinking that it feels like, and you tell me what you think about this, Jeanette, because I know you're a very open person, and if you guys have to check out the episode where Jeanette talked about time, because it's amazing. But I feel like there's the light, and then there's a false light, right? And the false light is the world where people want to be caught up in artificial things like different worlds and technology and AI. Not saying there's something wrong with AI, because I know we're moving forward, but the people who just, it's their whole world. You can go to different realities and touch and feel different people, right? Without using your body, right? And what does that sound familiar to? That sounds familiar when you actually astral project, right? When you don't need your body, when you don't need a vehicle, but you can still experience things. And that's the same thing that the false light does, right? People just kind of looking in that direction, constantly being on social media, not really seeing what's going on in front of us because we're so preoccupied by the false light.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I don't know, that's just in my head. You tell me what you think about that.
Um, I agree with that. And I feel that people are going there because they don't feel comfortable in their own body. And so they're not embodying themselves any longer, and that can be challenging for a lot of us, when we see people. And so so those of us that are embodied, we have to be in that frame of mind to remember that not everyone is in their body and they're not embodied in divinity. And so it looks like we have some challenges, some work ahead of us still, but if we can get more people, into their bodies, back into their bodies, to remember to feel, to emote, to recall the divine intelligence that we all do carry, that will assist. And that's what I do a lot. That's a lot of the work, the divine assignment work that I do,
Right.
to bring people back into their body so that they don't have to go and do that type of AI, go there. I mean, we can go there naturally. I can go there all the time. So
Right.
yeah. But people just, they like to give their authority away. They don't trust them.
Right.
They don't want to feel. That's
Right.
the thing that's going on. People don't want to feel. They don't trust themselves. People are just accustomed to and programmed and conditioned to giving away their trust, giving away all of their power, and then not even realizing that that's what they're doing. That's the part.
Yes. So what type of advice would you give to someone if they want to feel and they want to be present and they want to be in their body and they want to be grounded? Like, what type of work would you suggest that they do?
Everything in nature or in the most natural setting, even if it's like in your own backyard, somewhere where there's grass or dirt, soil, sand, something, each day. It's important to do it each day. And some of us, we fly so high and out of our bodies quickly and easily that they have a little bit more often. So maybe a few times a day versus just, a half hour, an hour, but maybe it's a few times a day, especially if you're working at an office, or maybe you're in an uncomfortable situation in a relationship or home or where you live. All of these things can make people fly out of their bodies quickly, especially now. Especially now, people just will fly out, they'll get in the car, drive, and then you're like, they didn't even look at the red light. They went right through the red light. I mean, I live here in Los Angeles, so I see it all the time. So I slow down when I drive, and I don't really care if people get mad because I'm driving slow, but I'm like, you're not even in your body. You don't even see what's going on ahead of me, that this person is running red lights or not even looking, not even focusing or paying attention. And then they have these masks on and it's like, they can't breathe. So they have really low oxygen levels. They're unclear, I mean, I could go on and on, but yeah, doing everything and anything in nature, literally hugging a tree, going to swim in the ocean, going to swim in a natural lake, some natural body of water, digging in the soil with your hands, even just to go have fun and play, dig some soil with your hands without any gloves on, have bare feet, really, and talking to the earth, talking to her, she's speaking to us. And so it's really important to ground back with her. She has the codes, she has divine codes, the crystalline codes for us that will activate and magnify our own codes so that we can ground. And it's important to do it each day, that's one way that's easy and it's free. The other way, you can do it with food, grounding high frequency nutrients, not just any type of food, but you're right now we're here in winter, so grounding foods are abundant. So it's easier to get right now. In the summer, it's a little bit different, but right now we have, grounding potatoes, and there's a lot of herbs that we can take also to assist us in grounding. And then just being cognizant of when we are ingesting any type of nutrition, that we are focusing with a high intent, that we are grounding, that we're nourishing the food to nourish our body so that we can be on the planet and be in the highest version of ourselves. So those are two really good ones. And, eating doesn't cost a lot, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be cooked by a chef, just something that you can taste and touch and ingest, that it's healthy, healthy for you.
Right. What type of foods would you suggest during this time? What would be the best foods for us to eat? Because I know a lot of people say organic or vegan or vegetarian. What do you suggest?
I would say an organic veggie soup, something warm, because it's cold and we need warmth in our body to make us feel safe and to remind our body that we are connected to the Earthship, our planet, and that it is winter here. So, I mean, it's cold here for Los Angeles. So all across the country, I know it's not any hotter, really, maybe Florida, but even so, we still have, we still need to follow the rules of the cycles of the earth. And so that, that's pretty much the best. Anything that is gluten-free, really, because this is the timeline that we're trying to like build up heat, and so a lot of that goes to like carb foods. Not to say that they're not good, they are good, but just being really cognizant of how much you allow in your body, because you don't want to create mucus or inflammation by having too much. So it's always that balance with this beautiful temple vessel that we've been blessed to embody. And so it really takes one to be in their body to be able to recognize that it is a divine vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, because I was going to ask you, how could people tell whether or not they're in their body or not in their body? Like, what would be some of the signs that anyone could look for to be able to tell where they're at along that journey?
So we can go a few extremes. If they're not in their body, they might be really flighty. They might fall down a lot, accidents, headaches, trip on things or drop things. Like they're not, I mean, I did that the other day. I don't think I was in my body enough. I dropped a few things and I was like, oh, okay, I need to slow down, breathe, take some deep breaths, remind myself that I was safe, that I'm secure on the earth, and that I'm a divine vessel. Remind yourself, remind your nervous system, reheart, not remind, we're going to reheart it.
Ooh, I love that. Reheart. Let me write that down.
Yeah, reheart it. And, so those type of things, any type of accidents, headaches, flightiness, fogginess, okay, that's one way. And then if we're too much in our body, which we don't always want to do that either, is when you go into like survival mode. There's a lot of fear. Well, that can be a couple of things. So let's scratch that first. Too much in the body. You don't really want to go anywhere. You're comfortable being in one space. Like if you're too comfortable, you just want to do the same thing every day, not leave your house, those type of things. If you're eating poorly too, can be a sign of one or the other, either not eating enough or eating too much. Usually eating too much and not eating enough can make us ungrounded as well. So it can take us right out of our body, because we might just be not cognizant of what we're eating if we're just eating to eat because it's something to do, or or not eating enough. Not to say that fasting and intermittent fasting is not good. But that's with high intent. This is just like to be cognizant of, and to really be, to be focused on that. If your body isn't calling for food that day, then follow it in suit, and just take care of your body and listen when it does call for food, or the other, if you need more food, follow it through. So those are a couple of guidelines. Over exercise can make us ungrounded.
Over exercising?
Yeah. Not to say that we do it, but if you are like a runner, an avid runner, where you might run 10, 15 miles a day, that can unground you. And you can fly your body. So you need to have nutrients to bring yourself back. High frequency, or if you're just sleeping all day, that can throw you out of your body as well. And so you might feel like you need a lot of rest because you're not in your body. So your body is just requiring to be horizontal. When in actuality, we do need to be vertical at times so that the circulation can process through.
Right.
So it's subtle nuances, that you can be mindful of. Not to over exaggerate or, always thinking about it, because then that's something else.
Right. That's going to be something else.
Yeah. So just being mindful, especially in these timelines, especially for your family and friends and those that you love. If you see a change, you know, I notice that now because I'm in my body and I'm pretty balanced for the most part. I do a lot of work around that so that I know when I'm like not in my body or I'm too much in my body, you know. Just like this moon coming, we have this beautiful full moon coming on Monday, and I'm like, goodness, I feel really like a full moon right now. I feel really amplified, and I don't always like that feeling. So I'm like, okay, body, we're gonna have to get back in. I know we're following the full moon, but we don't physically have to mirror.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We don't want to be like Jupiter and get expansive either.
No,
Because sometimes our body can do that. You're like,
it's just like, oh, and I love Jupiter. I love
me
Thursdays.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Jupiter is beautiful.
Yeah.
Jeanette, I'm about to go way there.
Okay.
Where are you from now? I'm not speaking of like any place on earth before you came into this body. Where are you from?
Oh my goodness. Well, if we're talking about one, I mean, no, I can't. Okay, so I'm going to just compile all of the incarnations together, I guess.
Yes.
So I have a strong connection to being from Lemuria, from a place called Ladakh in India,
Ooh.
and from Egypt, particularly the Pleiadians with Het
Hmm.
are the main ones that, I mean, they're really here with me now.
Wow.
Strong. And there's no way around it. So, I mean, I'll go days and I'll have Indian food every day because my body is just like accustomed to it, needs it, wants it, you know?
Right.
And I'll go into meditative spaces and see all of the pyramids and follow through with meditations and ceremonies with Het. I mean, it's just strong. It's strong here, and so I know it's, you know, it's part of me. And then going into the Akashic records, I did ask for myself, you know, why do I have such strong connections? So that's kind of why I know a little bit more. I know a lot more, but those are the basis. And then Lemuria, just because of I go there a lot. I go there in timeline. So our sleep timeline, and that's where I do a lot of work actually. And then they actually all kind of like merge, and so I have all of that in my DNA.
Wow.
In my galactic DNA. How about that? My galactic cosmic stardust DNA.
Many of us are just trying to bring pieces of ourselves together on this plane in this life. Our traumas and stuff. Let me bring myself back together. And you're talking about, you know, different lifetimes that you have brought, you know, and brought pieces of yourself or your whole self back and been able to integrate. When people remember their past lifetimes, do they normally do similar work that they have done in past lifetimes? Or could it be totally different?
Sometimes it depends on if they liked it enough or not, I think. But we need to remember to reheart that all timelines are transpiring simultaneously in this now.
Yes.
They're here. It's just a lateral move. They're not in the past, they're not in the future. It's your future past self in this now. So you are the ancestor. You are the highest version of your future past self in this now. You are the, and so it's important for us to reheart that so that we can continue to embody it and walk as so and think as so and be as so. so that we can always function in the highest version of ourselves in this now. And if there's something that you don't like about it, then change it immediately.
Because we have the power.
Indeed, we do.
We have the power. That is, wow. Wow. There's really no one or nothing to blame, right? All
No.
we have to do is do the work. And sometimes that's the hardest part. Like, it's easy to say, like, do the work.
Yeah.
But really taking the time to do the work, like you have done, like coming off of social media and stuff, that's where the work begins, right? When everyone is moving into one direction and you're looking at everyone and you're saying, I don't think I'm gonna go that way. Right? I think I'm gonna be right here and work on myself and love myself and just figure things out. Right?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It's important.
Very important.
We're so advanced and we just need to reheart that. We're already so advanced with divine technology, divine intelligence. We're infinite. Yes. And we have sources. And so social media is actually slow. It's actually backwards. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love it. It's amazing and awesome, but pictures and video, it's actually very slow. It's actually very archaic compared to what we truly do.
Right. Right. We have been so caught up with using technology and things outside of ourselves to achieve certain things that we have forgot that we are the technology, right?
Indeed. That's how how technology has been created from us.
Yes, where do we think they got the idea from, right?
Exactly. Just like, pictures and video, television, people are always like, you should do, more lives or more videos. And I'm like, I don't need to, because I'm already at such an advanced speed, and I think other people, they do like it because it's reminiscent.
Yes.
But I want to call through something that's not bringing like nostalgia, like reminiscence, but to move forward.
Yes.
In order to do that, we have to be still in order to listen and actually utilize all the power within us, because I want to bilocate and, perform telekinesis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to go through airports anymore and go through security and follow other people's rules. And I just want to go there.
Right.
So that's what those are my next things to really work on, is bilocation. Not even astral travel, because astral travel is easy. I mean, we do that all the time in the dream state. So we've been doing that since, we were in the womb, since the mouth of God, connected to our mother's womb.
Right.
But I'm working on physically bilocating through energy and
bilocating. Can you explain that?
The shape shifting. So, and I'm not going to go through the airports here nor in India, because they're requiring something that does not agree with my sovereignty. But I want to go there, and I'm not going to be told no, that I can't, because I know I can.
Right.
And so I'm really focusing on bilocating. So energetically, with all of my power, all of my authority, I can be there in my physical. And with that, along with telekinesis. So, to being able to move objects such as myself, in bilocating.
That is so magical.
Indeed. And we are magical.
We are, but all that's hard to do when most of us don't sleep, right? I like how you said most of your work is done in the dream state, in your sleep. So just think about most of us who are not getting any sleep, right? Because most people do not sleep. And
so they're staying here on this earth realm. They're ungrounded. they're eating bad, because you're trying to keep the energy up in your physical body to be able to do normal physical everyday third dimensional things, and it's not possible. So you need to ask before you go to sleep. It's that fine line, like right before you fall asleep, but you're still cognizant. You have to ask that before state a prayer that you go to sleep, that tonight you're going to go to sleep, that there's not going to be any kind of work, divine assignment work tonight, that you need to sleep, that your physical body is fatigued, that your physical brain is fatigued, and you need to have a full night's rest. That's how you do that.
So important, so important.
Do it night. You have to do it each night so that your body can recalibrate, can go back in alignment. We'll be up all night, I've done it. I know. We'll be up, not up all night, but working in our dream state all night. And then you wake up and you're exhausted. And you're like, I slept 8 hours. Why do I feel so exhausted? And also, daily nutriments also, they play a big part. So water, nutrition, sunshine, moonshine, literal shine of the moon, not alcohol.
She said moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important. And sleep and water, right?
Yes.
That's one of my things where people always say, Sah'RAH, you drinking water like you're drinking alcohol. I don't know what that's like, but I'm telling you that it's not just natural for me to drink a lot of water. So I have to make a conscious decision that, Sah'RAH, here's your water. Get through that today. Make sure you're drinking like every 15 minutes. So you're not waiting to the end of the night to be rushing back and forth to the restroom all the time. Because I know that has something to do with our physical body and the way that we think and our clarity. And, to be dehydrated is one of the worst things you can do on top of not sleeping, right?
Right. I drink water all night. I drink water when I go to sleep too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'll wake up a couple of times, but I want to make sure that I'm hydrated in those dream states as well.
Right. Because what does it, what difference does that make to be hydrated in the dream state?
I feel it gives you more clarity. That's just for me personally, but I feel it can bring you more clarity in the dream states if you're not like remembering. Or you need to ask to remember as well, but I've just been guided to do that. So I do that. And I do wake up a couple of times a night, but it's okay because I go right back to sleep.
Right. He was like, I ain't got no problem going to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm one of them type people too. I'll be like, you guys, I'm going to sleep.
If I'm going to sleep, I'm going to sleep. And I sleep with selenite too. So that's just,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love selenite. We have a piece right here.
Yes. So good. Makes you sleep like a little baby.
Yes. I need to think about that. Maybe that has something to do with it. Because I have one that's sitting right next to my nightstand.
Yeah. That'll make you sleep like a baby.
Right. Wow. I wonder, so selenite makes you sleep like a baby. I wonder what a black protection stone would do.
Like a black tourmaline?
Yeah.
Well, black tourmaline and selenite are very close to one another, like in their makeup. So it'll let you sleep as well.
See, I didn't even know what you just said, that they were close in their makeup. I don't know why that came to me. I don't even know why I'm talking about a black stone, but that came to me. Okay, if that one's good, what about a black one?
Yeah. Together, they would, especially if you're doing work in your dream state, the sixth dimension, maybe you need some protection.
Right.
Yeah.
Some protection and some clearing. I love that. Wow. I'm sitting here like I'm breathing like, that's amazing. Wow. Anyway, just thinking about, it's 2022 and we both know it's not the new year, right? I mean,
Right.
come on.
Indeed.
So
It's just in
yeah,
here.
right. So everyone out there that I not say Happy New Year to, there's nothing against you. I know it's not. Around this time, people make, New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna get some more sleep. I'm gonna drink some more water. I'm gonna work out, when that's something that we could be doing all the time,
All the
right?
time.
That's something that we should be doing. It shouldn't be a New Year's resolution. It should be a part of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So with everything that we spoke about today, what would you like, or what do you think people should actually contemplate on during these times that we are in right now? What should they be thinking about?
Well, self-care, like we've been talking about first, not
Yes.
to feel guilty or bring any kind of guilt or shame surrounding it, because then that's just doing the opposite.
Right.
And as we stated earlier, really getting your community connected,
Mm-hmm.
tighter, especially those that are in definite alignment with you and your mindset, your heart set, um, and focusing on possibly growing your own food.
Mm.
In an apartment, you can have a raised bed, soil bed, like on your windowsill, at least, something. It's important. It's really important. Those are the main things. And not calling in any fear, really working on any type of fear in these timelines. Really letting that go. I know so many people are very fearful right now. And the more that you call in fear or think about it or feel it, the more you'll amplify it and you'll call those connections in, whatever that may be. And so that's a really big thing, like just really trusting yourself and calling in your authority, because it's your divine inheritance, and trusting yourself. And when you don't feel like you can trust yourself, sitting back, maybe journaling about it or finding out where it stems from and why you don't, and maybe doing the work around that, you know that's really important. And I feel that's important, going forward, because so many people here are fearful, and they listen to everything outside of themselves,
Mm.
not trusting themselves. And I'm here to remind you to do that.
Yes.
Do that each day, each and every day. Whatever they're telling you, do the opposite. Do the absolute opposite. The absolute opposite.
No.
I'm not even playing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute opposite. And
Living in the, yeah. And you
yeah,
what?
and you can never go wrong. You'll never be wrong as long as you follow your trust, where your authority is. It's there. And then when you start to feel more empowered, you're just gonna be like, oh shit, yeah. And then it just, catches on like wildfire. Like, I don't wear masks here. And they just imposed a very large mandate for that again. And I'm like, no, it's against my civil liberties, and I'm not going to do that. I don't need a mask. I'm not sick.
Right.
I don't carry anything of dis-ease with me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me anything. I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not afraid. Because once you let that fear, it catches on like wildfire.
Yes.
Once you say yes to any type of fear and it runs in your energy field, it's there. I've been around so many people with COVID. I'm just like, there's or they think they have COVID or whatever it is, you know, and I'm like, you let it into your field. You allowed it to be, you allowed it to be there. It's not there. It doesn't exist. It's just in here. So we have to come back into here. Reheart who you are. It's important.
Reheart.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, we have to reheart. We have to reheart all the time, each day. Each day. My family thinks I'm crazy, but it's okay.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. So it's Jeanette, just like always, it's been lovely. It's been beautiful. Although I have one question that's just kind of roaming around in my head. But one thing that I wanted to ask you is I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for you during this time. How can people reach you? If they have any retreats that they can, participate with you in or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm on
Yeah.
social media. I'm on Instagram. I like Instagram a lot. I'm at Ascension Alchemy _444, or my website is ascensionalchemy.com. Those are the best ways to reach me. I do have a lot of courses. I'm teaching everything that I know. I've been guided to give it all away so that I can be free. So that just came to me on Sunday. And I understood greatly what that means. Now I do, now I understand. And so I'm having courses for Reiki, Tibetan Usui, and Karuna, Reiki, all levels, as well as I'm teaching DNA activations. I have a 2-day course coming up, as well as I'm teaching how to enter the Akashic Records for yourself and to open the Akashic Records for others. I'm teaching a noble sound healing alchemy course as well. Yeah, I have a lot of things. And I have, I'll be teaching, I'll be offering yoga in Belize. It's a couples retreat, so it is for couples. March 17th through the 22nd. So if you feel like going with your loved one. And I have a couple of other retreats. The dates aren't really set yet. So if you check in with my Instagram or my website, send me a quick message. I'll let you know. I'll let you know going forward if you'd like to connect.
Lovely. Thank you. I love the way all the classes sound. So I'll be inquiring, and I already reached out to you. So I would love to work with you. You do amazing work.
Thank you.
So to close this out, we are going to close this out on a very high note. And it's something I like to ask everyone is, if you were to become an ancestor right now, at this moment, what would be your legacy?
That's a good one. Well, when you said that to me right now, the first word that came through to me was truth. So being able to walk and talk and embody my truth, even if the truth isn't someone else's truth, but it's my truth, and to be known for that. That I was able to always speak my truth and walk in my truth and trust it for my own self, in which that would be that I'm so connected to my inner source, my original source of who I am, that I've walked in my truth throughout this incarnation. And I was actually able to, move forward in that. And so that would be my legacy.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Jeanette. Thank you for your time today and your energy. Love the work that you're doing, and thanks a lot for giving yourself to the collective and allowing us to learn some of the things that you already know. So we appreciate you. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Maybe we forgot to mention something during this time. This would be a perfect time.
I think we covered a lot.
We did. We did. So,
Yeah, thank you
all
so much
right.
to be here and see your beautiful face and speak to all willing hearts that will open up and watch this or listen to it. So
Yeah.
grateful.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
appreciate
you. Yes. So thank you all. We are sending love. We are sending light. And everyone have an amazing day. Thank you.